Hello and welcome, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Once again, we have Frederic's mates coming up for you. Thank you, everybody, for watching so far. And I'm excited to listen to Frederic a little bit more about the next world champion in line. Frederic, it's your turn. Who is it? How did you meet this person? And what can we expect?
Okay, I think today we should be talking about Boris Spassky. Now, he was a legendary world champion, of course, whom I first met in the 1970s. He came to Hamburg to promote a computer, and I met him in a department store. And actually, we became friends suddenly because something very amusing happened in that department store. I had brought there were a lot of famous chess players there, Spassky and others, and I'd brought a chess board with me, and I had them all sign the white squares with a felt pen.
Mm-hmm.
And the owner of the department store said, "Wow, that's a great idea." And he told one of his assistants, "Go fetch the best board we have." And he came back and he borrowed my pen and he got them all to sign their names on their board. And then what happened was we had dinner, and we finished dinner and the players all left. And then this assistant, a young boy, came with the board to our dinner table and said, "I've tried to get rid of them, but you can't get rid of all of them." And what had happened was the owner of the store, or the general manager, had said, "Keep this in our workroom. Keep it very safely. It's very important." And the assistant hadn't understood. He thought, clean it up,
No,
from the stains. And then the next morning, I took Spassky to the airport and I told him about this. And you can't believe how long he laughed. He giggled and giggled and giggled. So we became sort of friends.
Gosh. Wow. Wow. Yeah, that connects immediately. Oh gosh. That assistant. The question is, but you don't have to, we will never know. Is he still working there after that incident? But well, that's not the theme. Now,
No.
so you met him. He was laughing. That's a very good icebreaker, after all. And when did you meet the next time together?
Then I was in Munich for a tournament in 1979. And in this, first-class tournament, Helmut Pfleger, who was one of the strongest grandmasters in Germany and is a doctor, he was conducting research on the pulse rate and the blood pressure of players during the game. Actually, it was mainly pulse rate.
Interesting.
And what happened was Spassky and Ulf Anderson were two of the candidates. And so they'd come in before the games, and I was helping Helmut, and we'd hook them up to pulse meter, and they would go and play. And during that time, I was always chatting very nicely with Spassky. By the way, once Ulf Anderson came, the first time he came to the door, and I said, "Oh, no, we're doing an experiment here." I thought this was some,
Random person.
young boy, delivery boy or something. And he said, "I am Ulf Anderson." I said, "Oh my God, come in. And anyway, with Spassky, we did it. And Helmut, of course, he was also hooked up. And we discovered something very interesting, especially in Spassky and Helmut, that their pulse rate during the game went up to, I don't know, 150, 160. Normally it's 75, 80 or something. And Helmut assumed that the adrenaline was also going up. Obviously, they're all connected. And what were the players doing? They were launching a kingside attack or suffering a kingside attack, and their pulse rate would go up to 150.
Uh-huh.
Now, in nature, this is only the case when you're preparing to take flight or to kick or bite or kill or something like that.
Yeah.
This is
Life and death
adrenaline.
almost. Yeah.
Yeah, life and death. But this was happening in the middle of a game. And then what Helmut did was very interesting. He took a beta blocker for one of the games, which keeps your pulse rate down.
Uh-huh.
And it kept him calm, and he lost the game miserably,
Huh.
So it was pioneer work we were doing at the time.
That's interesting. Yeah, that effect. No wonder that chess players lose a lot of calories doing this. How was Boris Spassky taking that experiment? They were already, of course, asking him to participate, and he said, "Yes, of course. That's something very interesting."
He was very, and the main thing was we had these conversations before and after, and we cemented our friendship. And then I went in 1988, I traveled to the candidates tournament in St. John in Canada. And when the plane landed in Toronto, and I think there was snow or something, and I missed my connecting flight to St. John. But they put me up in a very, very nice hotel and dinner and everything on the airline. And when I went to dinner, Spassky comes up to me and says, "Hello, Mr. Frederic. I saw you on the plane and I recognized you, but I didn't want to disturb you." I said, "How can you disturb me?" And he said, "Can we have dinner together?" And so we had dinner together, sumptuous dinner, and unlimited supply of wine, red wine, good red wine. So we sat there till 3 or 4, even longer.
Fruitful.
In the morning. And I learned about 50% of everything I know about the history of chess from him. He just went on and on. He told me about his matches, and he told me about Fischer. And he told me about Fischer as well. He told me about his matches against the Soviet contenders and how things worked and how chess was organized and how Russia became such a great chess power nation and so on. And we became really great friends. It cemented our friendship. And now the next time was actually the main meeting with him. I spent a week in Elista. There was a candidates tournament in Elista. I think it was 2007. And I went there. Yeah. And I went there, and there was Spassky doing commentary.
Oh, okay.
And there were all the top players in the world were there, and lots of people, young chess players, young grandmasters who were there to witness the candidates tournament. And something I noticed was very interesting, that at lunch in a huge hall, I was sitting at a table always with Spassky, and all these young players, like in their teens, would gather around and would join us at the lunch and at the dinner. Why? They were seeking company with Spassky and listening to his stories. He was telling stories there, and they were enjoying it tremendously. And so he has this personality. And then one day, something happened. I decided, we're sitting in this, it was called City Chess. Ilumshinov, the president of FIDE, had built an entire mini city for chess. And by the way, I told him, call it Chess City, not City Chess. But it was called City Chess. And we had bungalows, and everyone had a place. I think he gave Boris one of the buildings, little cottages there, just gave it to him and said, "This belongs to you." Now,
Okay.
we would all be in this city chess, and we would have a great time, but I didn't see anything of Elista. So one day I went to Illuminov and I said, "Listen, I want to see Elista.
Mhm.
I want to see." He said, "Okay, I'll send a driver and he'll show you around." And so the driver came the next morning, and Spassky heard me discussing this, and he said, "Frederic, can I join you?" I said, "Yes, of course. That would be most wonderful." So in the morning, we both got into the car, and he drove us to some tank, which was a sort of a monument of a tank.
Okay.
And we said, "Okay, very interesting." And then he took us to some other monument. I said, no, we want to see Elista, the steppe. We're in the middle of the steppes.
Hmm.
And he said, "Okay, but what do you want to see?" I want to see the steppe and some animals maybe on it. And he said, "Oh, okay." So he took us to a race course, and he said, "Here you can see, here are some horses."
There's your animals.
So we gave up. We said, "Okay, this is not going to work,"
Hopeless.
and we drove back to City Chess. And then Spassky said to me, "Why don't we go out to the steppe ourselves? It is just beyond City Chess."
Hmm.
And I said, "Yes, but there's a fence around it." And he said, "Yes, but I know a hole in the fence."
Are you kidding me?
No,
No.
and I'll give you a picture of that.
No
And he took me to the
way.
hole in the fence, a break in the fence, and we crawled through it. And then we were in the middle of the steppe. And we went out for a long, long walk. I think 3 or 4 hours. We got lost. We couldn't find the hotel,
No.
and I was finding all kinds of insects, mainly insects, giant locusts and grasshoppers.
Uh-huh.
And he considered me one of the bravest people in the world because I was
You
touching
were
them and
touching.
catching them. And he was singing American songs. And I said, "How the hell do you know these songs? Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day." And he says, "Bobby, teach me."
No.
And yes, he had learned them from Bobby Fischer. And it was a wonderful time. And
Fascinating.
as I describe in my book, then we got back to City Chess. We found our way. We had to cross streams, little streams to get there, which was not easy. And when we got back there, we just got back in time for lunch, I think. And we sat down at the table, and all the young players gathered around. And he said, "No, go away. We smell. We have been sweating in the sun." So he drove them all away. And then after dinner, after lunch, he went to his room, and about half an hour later, he came down impeccably dressed in a suit and so on, and did his commentary. So this
Wow.
was the kind of person. And he
Wow.
really enjoyed our adventure
Yes.
in the steppe. And I know that he enjoyed it because after that, for many years, he would tell people about it when you gathered in a circle of people, and he would say, "Frederic and we went into the steppe," and so on. And then he would come across to me and hug me because he just enjoyed it so
That
much.
is so cute. Wow. What that yeah, I mean, of course, this is these are those adventures which you will never ever forget and which will
Yeah.
always bond you for the rest of your life. So, you mentioned quickly and have to talk about this because you just mentioned your book, of course.
Yes, it contains a little bit more and more exact information on all of these, and my encounters with Spassky. There's one thing I need to finish with.
Okay.
Spassky then moved to France, and he was living in France. And I would meet him at events like at the Dresden Olympiad, and we'd have a great time together. By the way, at the Dresden Olympiad, there was a press conference, and he was the guest of honor at the press conference. And I need to tell you about that. Oh my God. What happened was he was at the press conference and they asked him, "Do you play chess?" He said, "Yeah, sometimes." "How do you prepare?" He said, "Me prepare for chess? No, I'm preparing for death." And they said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "It is a very long and difficult end game." And Yasser Seirawan was there, and he was shocked, and everyone was shocked, and he was getting slightly frail.
That is absolutely amazing. Thank you, Frederic, so much for the details about Mr. Spassky. I cannot wait for next week. I hope you at home feel the same way. And we say, see you soon.
We do Fisher, yeah?
Probably, yes, I guess.
Yeah,
Mr.
we'll do
Fisher.
Fisher.
Bye bye, everybody.
Take care.